I have to say, I think this is one of the most out-of-pocket titles I've ever written before, but honestly, it is pretty accurate for this series. Welcome back to another video today, guys. I'm finally recovering from my sickness just a little bit, so I'm a little bit more energetic. My voice is still a little bit drained though, so forgive me for that, but we still gotta drop the content. You already know what it is. So today I actually read a new Shonen Jump series. This series actually only has under 10 chapters out at the time of this video recording, so it's super new, and it didn't even have a summary of what the story was about before I started reading it. But this story is straight insanity, and when I say it's insane, I mean it is insane.
Sensational.
I was kind of shocked that it was on Shonen Jump because it definitely does have a couple Shonen Jump tropes, but it felt more like a seinen type manga. This manga I'm talking about today is Fabricant 100. The base rundown of this manga is this. There used to be this insane doctor who was obsessed with the idea of a perfect human. So what he would do is that he would stitch these humans from human body parts and he would call them fabricants. And he kept making them and fine-tuning them. And he's trying to make the perfect human, but he never made the perfect human in his eyes. By the time he made the 100th fabricant, he actually passes away. But this premise is obviously very similar to Frankenstein, with Frankenstein trying to create this perfect human, and we have this in this story as well. Now the story starts off with a couple eating lunch on a train. This couple sees a guy running alongside the train, running faster than the train. Homie is a track star.
She's a runner, she's a track star.
And this man runs alongside the train, reaches into the window, and pulls the woman from the window. Now, this is how we get introduced to our main character, Ashibi, because about a week later, Ashibi comes on this train with this woman known as number 100. Because he heard about the kidnapping of this woman from that window, and he had suspicions that it was a fabricant. Now, I'm about to throw a bunch of information at you, so just try to pay attention. Basically, since these 100 fabricants were made by this doctor, when the doctor passed away, these fabricants didn't really know what to do with their life, and they became obsessed with the fact that they needed to be the perfect human beings. So their one life mission was to go and kill any human that they can find that has good skin and good body and stitch it onto themselves and become the best looking human. Now Ashibi, knowing the backstory of the fabricants, thinks that this kidnapping was done in order to steal one of the body parts of the woman to be used for the fabricants. But remember, I said that he wasn't alone on the train. Ashibi came on with a woman known as number 100, and she gets her name because she is the 100th fabricant made, the final fabricant made. So how did we get there? How did we get to Ashibi working with a fabricant? Well, it's quite simple, honestly. Ashibi is from a bloodline that really does not age. They say that his family, after they turn 18, ages very slowly, and he has people in his family who were over 100 years old looking like they were in their 30s. You know, they got their Madonna thing going on. Now, this family, being known as not aging and living for a long amount of time, is obviously a target for fabricants. And just so that we aren't confused, fabricants are not a thing that are known to the whole entire universe. It's kind of a secret type thing, and the only reason Ashibi knows about them was because they came for his family and they killed and slaughtered his whole entire family. But Ashibi is only 14 years old, so before they kill him, he announces to the people killing his family saying, "I'm only 14 years old, but I promise that when I turn 18, I will sacrifice my body to one of you if you will kill all the other fabricants with me." Now, number 100 being there and hearing this offer, accepted this deal from Ashibi and is now under his wing killing all the other fabricants that they encounter. So that explains the backstory of why Ashibi and Number 100 are working together and why they're on this train trying to investigate this murder. So that's the premise of the story, so let's get into more of my thoughts and ideas on this series, the pros and the cons, and also before we get into that, drop a like, drop a sub, drop a comment. It helps out this video a ton, especially a small channel like mine, and also drop a comment so far what you think about this series so far, whether you read it or not, and let's get into my thoughts. Now, when I first started reading this manga, like I said earlier, I was kind of shocked that it was on Shonen Jump, but I really did enjoy that first couple of chapters, and I really said to myself, yo, this series has a lot of potential. But I will say, I was really worried because it seems like the manga was just gonna be like a hit list type manga, which means it will just be a constant fight every single arc, every single chapter, and it's kind of like a rinse and repeat type thing. Yeah, although these fabricants may be different or they may have different abilities, but all in all, it's still the same exact chapter, just rinse and repeat of them fighting and defeating a fabricant. I was worried that it will fall into the trap of just recycling its older chapters over and over again and becoming boring and unfortunately becoming cancelled. But so far from the later chapters that I've been reading, because this series has been paced really well, again, it's not even over 10 chapters yet, so we are super early in the story. But so far, this series seems to be heading in a more complex direction. This series seems to want to answer questions like, do fabricants think like humans? Do they behave like humans? Do they have emotions and thoughts like humans? Or do fabricants deserve to die? Or do fabricants need to always be chasing after humans and trying to steal their body parts for their own? And it also seems like we may be getting a developing relationship between Number 100 and Ashibi. And of course, nothing romantic, but a mother and son type relationship where Ashibi grows attached to Number 100. And my question is, will Number 100 reciprocate that and grow attached to Ashibi? Or will Number 100 abuse that relationship and use that to ultimately deceive Ashibi? This series is already doing a fantastic job at bringing up these questions in only the first 8 chapters of the manga. The pacing is done really well, and it seems to know how to make its story complex and more interesting. But again, my only worry would be that trap of just recycling the same type of battle every single time is so easily there, so if the writer feels like being lazy, or if the writer doesn't have any other complex things to address, they may just fall into the same exact trap. And I don't think anyone wants to read a manga that is just one big tournament arc, or maybe just Dragon Ball Z fans. But drop a comment about whether you think this series will gain in popularity, or if you think this series will end up being cancelled, or if you think this series is even complex enough to really interest its readers and audience. I definitely think it has potential, but you can disagree with me, obviously. I made a video right here about why you actually shouldn't even be reading Shonen Jump. This is a very controversial video, so feel free to click it and watch it. Also, don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Deuces.